is an exclusive presentation of Play Fly Sports on 710 ESPN and the ESPN LA Trojan Media Network. Presented by Pechanga Resort Casino.
Hi, it's LeBron. The Lakers play here.
710 ESPN.
KSPN, Los Angeles.
A good karma brands radio station. 710 ESPN. The radio home of the purple and gold. And the home of Lakers talk.
Last night in Palm Springs, it was a historic moment, not only for the Lakers, but for the entire NBA.
And Michael, this is the moment that we were waiting for. LeBron and Bronny on the court together.
It's a new edition of Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetzky.
The Lakers preseason is underway as LeBron and Bronny look to make more history this year and get the Lakers back to their winning ways.
To be able to have that influence on your kids and have the influence on your son, to be able to have moments with your son, and then ultimately, to be able to work with your son, I think that's one of the greatest things that a father could ever hope for or wish for, so it's pretty cool.
Lakers Talk is presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
Lakers Talk is on. Here's Andy Kamenetzky.
What is up, everybody? Lakers Talk, 7 to 9 p.m. most Mondays, and Andy Kamenetzky here with you right now. 2 preseason games are in the books for the Lakers. The most recent was last night, a 118-114 loss to the Phoenix Suns. The next game will be Thursday against the Milwaukee Bucks, 5 p.m. local time. By the way, that game will obviously be heard right here on ESPN LA 710. The pregame coverage with Betto Duran and Michael Thompson begins at 3:30. Got some really good guests for you tonight. 7:30, we're going to be joined by Shawn Davis, formerly of Lakers Nation. He's got his own show now, the Sports Headline Show. You can watch it on YouTube. He has covered the Lakers for years. Great with on-court X's and O's breakdowns. Really knows how the game works. So excited to talk with him. And then at 8:15, the people's champ, literally, because y'all crowned him as such, Betto Duran, the host of Lakers pre-halftime, post-game coverage all season. He's going to drop by at 8:15, give some thoughts on what he's seen so far in the preseason. Also, let me know how some of y'all are feeling about this, because I'm pretty locked into Laker fans, locked on to Laker fans as the host of Locked On Lakers 5 days a week. Anywhere you get your podcast, Monday through Friday, never behind a paywall. And for the sickos who like to watch, there's a YouTube component. Funchy marked that under 3 minutes.
I was going to say, that's a new record.
Under 3 minutes.
I didn't even two and a half, actually.
I didn't even plan for it. I did not even plan for it. But
you might want to say 1 minute because we had a long open.
That is true. All right, so 1 minute in. I don't know if I can beat this record over the course of the season.
No.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if you're challenging me.
I would love to see this. I would love to see that the first words you mention is Locked On Lakers.
I don't think I can do that. I actually think at that. I mean, thankfully, Greg Bergman, Morales, Sam Pines, they're all very good about allowing me to promote other shows. I think if I introduce this show with a promotion for Locked On Lakers, I'm going to rightly get
introduce this show first and then say Locked On Lakers.
That's very soon. It's very, very soon. But so 2 games are in the books right now for the Lakers. Again, 118-114 loss last night to the Suns in the desert. The Lakers are winless so far in the preseason, but I think there's been a lot more to be optimistic about than worried or upset. And the first thing for me is LeBron and AD made their preseason debuts last night. They both played only in the first half, but both looked very good. They were both very sharp. They looked like guys who were still in the flow from the Olympics, conditioned. It felt to me like they had not missed a beat. LeBron James, 19 points, 8 of 12 from the field, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks in just 16 minutes. He did have 4 turnovers, but all in all, I thought LeBron looked pretty sharp. He had 2 blocks, including 1 floater Devin Booker put up. There was another one that was part of a sequence that led to Phoenix putting up a really wild miss in order to avoid a 24-second violation. There was a great sequence where he bullied Josh Okogie down low, then spun on the baseline, layup. There were back-to-back sequences involving LeBron give-and-goes that turned into and-ones. The first one, he was screening for Austin Reeves, then dove to the basket. Good pass from Austin, ends up getting the and-one layup, hits the free throw. Then maybe 2 possessions later at the most, inverted pick and roll where Gabe Vincent's screening for LeBron. LeBron feeds him, perfect timing on the dive. Gabe Vincent gets the rare for Gabe Vincent and one, hits the free throw. Then Anthony Davis, 17 points, 7 of 10 from the field, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal in 18 minutes. First play of the game, he was set up by Austin Reeves on a lob. Really nice finish there with some traffic and challenge from whichever Plumlee plays for Phoenix. I have no. Is it Mason?
It's Mason.
It's Mason. Okay. So the Plumlee, I guess, it's still in the league.
Yes, because I think the other one's gone.
I believe we are down to one Plumlee.
Yeah, Miles Plumlee is out the league, I believe.
Right, and then there was a third Plumlee who was not there particularly long. But
is this like the Hemsworth brothers?
Yeah, because you know what? It is, because there really is only one.
What is Thor?
Well, that's Chris. Chris is the one that we hear from the most.
Yes.
There's Liam that
who's
pops,
okay.
He pops up every now and then. He's
yeah.
kind of like the Miles Plumlee.
Yeah.
And then there is a third, I believe Hemsworth, and a third Plumlee, and the third one we don't hear much from at all.
No, not at all.
So yeah, you're right. And then AD set up really nicely on a high-low sequence with D'Angelo Russell, bounce pass, great finish. And as I tweeted out during this game at Cam Brothers, this was the most engaged that I have seen LeBron and Anthony Davis in a preseason game, quite possibly since the first season those guys played together, the 2020 championship season. And if you remember that season, Anthony Davis, after forcing his way to the Lakers, napalming his way out of New Orleans, the Lakers giving up a lot, rightly, to bring him in. LeBron's first season with the Lakers, they missed the playoffs. LeBron's hurt through a lot of it. And in all honesty, I don't think ingratiated himself particularly well with Laker fans. Frank Vogel's first season. Rob Pelinka was even having to prove himself after Magic Johnson sideswiped the organization by quitting, taking every opportunity possible to trash Pelinka. Like, there were a lot of people with this organization, like the main faces, that really, I thought, needed to be incredibly focused. And we saw that during the championship season, basically from start to finish. And ever since then, I think the preseasons have largely been pretty casual and, in my opinion, wasted opportunities to lay a foundation, figure out what you're going to be doing. And, you know, once the NBA season begins, you don't get a lot of practice time. You don't get a lot of downtime. You don't get a lot of time to fine-tune things. So the preseason and training camp actually does matter, even though, you know, Lakers culture has ingrained us to think that nothing matters other than the championship. And it's either about the championship or it might as well have not even happened. But these habits that you build up now, the time that you put in now, that lays the foundation for what you can do in the regular season, and the regular season lays the foundation for what you can do in the playoffs. And it feels indicative and in theme of what we keep hearing about, whether from J.J. Redick or players talking about Redick, where no time is being wasted. Everything is staying focused. Opportunities are being maximized. And I just love seeing that. And another example of it is the first half of this game featured only the healthy rotation players or guys that at least figure to be with a reasonable shot of getting in the rotation. As far as who's available right now, the Lakers did not have Jared Vanderbilt and Christian Wood, and the Suns, other than Yusef Nurkic, they played all of their stars, you know, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Tyus Jones played in this game. Like, they played all the guys who matter as well in the first half. And other than a very particular 4 minutes in the second quarter, which we will get into, J.J. Redick played LeBron, A.D., Russell, Reeves, Rui, Max Christie, Gabe Vincent, Jackson Hayes, and Dalton Knecht. That's 8 guys definitely in the rotation, and then Knecht, who at least has a shot. 2 things I loved about this. First of all, the Lakers outscored Phoenix 69-57. So it's a small sample size, but that's what you want to see against a team that the Lakers figure to be jockeying with in the West. They're going to be fighting for seeding, position that, it's a division rival, so you're going to see them a lot. So far, so good. Again, just a first half sample size, but the Lakers looked like the definitively better team. But also, too, Redick treating this opportunity with LeBron and AD available, because I don't predict they're going to play in every game for the remainder of the preseason. My guess is they'll sit a few, play a few. But he's making the most of this, and therefore he's not mixing and matching and screwing around with floor combinations that he does not expect to use. He played what felt like a real rotation. Case in point, Jalen Hood-Schifino and Cam Reddish did not play until the second half. Why? Because those guys do not figure to be in the rotation. So why bother seeing what it looks like with LeBron and AD and some of the other key players with a Jalen Hood-Schifino or with a Cam Reddish, because you're not likely going to do that in the regular season. And look, JHS and Reddish played fine in the second half. This isn't about being critical about them. It's just J.J. Redick dialing into what is in front of him and using this time like it really matters. And it's felt like a while since the Lakers as an organization, whether you're talking about Frank Vogel, his last season with the team, the first one with Russ, LeBron, and AD, which you knew was going to be incredibly complicated to figure out if they even could, which they couldn't. But even if they could, it was going to be incredibly complicated. And the big three barely played together in the preseason for reasons I never understood. It never made sense to me. I thought Darvin Ham's preseasons were fairly casual as well. And it just felt like an extension of, they're a veteran team. It's LeBron. It's AD. We don't need to be treating this like it's serious. The preseason doesn't matter. The wins and losses don't matter. I could care less if the Lakers go winless in the preseason. I care about what it looks like when they're on the court, and I care about what it seems like J.J. Redick, LeBron, AD, what they want to get accomplished. And so far, it feels like they are trying to get things that matter accomplished, and I really love seeing that. There was, however, an unusual wrinkle that took place in the first half of this game, top of the second quarter. Talk about that coming up next. Andy Kamenetzky, Lakers Talk, 710 ESPN.
Is your vehicle due for service? Is it time to get those wipers replaced? If so, head into your neighborhood Valvoline Instant Oil Change, home of the 15-minute drive-through oil change. For over 30 years, Valvoline has provided quick and convenient automotive maintenance services for busy people just like you. At Valvoline, you stay in your car safe while the expert technicians make sure your ride is at its best. Oil changes, wiper blades, and more. Just pull up, drive in, and drive out in about 15 minutes. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for locations and game-winning coupons off of your next Valvoline Instant Oil Change.
Going through a life change, whether you're downsizing, you've inherited a home, or you're just ready for a change, Seller's Advantage is here to make selling your home easy. They'll buy it as is with a competitive cash offer. With Seller's Advantage, you're in control. Close as quickly as you want and do it on your own terms. Check out their reviews online and call for a no-obligation offer at 888-390-AS-IS. That's 888-390-2747 or visit sellersadvantage.com.
Don't worry, sell happy with Seller's Advantage.
Hey football fans, there is nothing sweeter than a cold glass of Stella Rosa and watching your team compete. But Stella Rosa wants to make it even sweeter and hook you up with the chance to win an experience to the biggest game of the college football season. You could win 2 tickets to the game, airfare, and a hotel for you and a friend. Head over to ESPNLADreamTicket.com to enter the Dream Ticket Sweepstakes presented by Stella Rosa, America's favorite semi-sweet, semi-sparkling wine. Please celebrate responsibly. Must be 21 21 or older to enter.
Hey kids, Uncle Artie here from Pernia Law, here to tell you about a newer sponsorship deal with Matt Barnes, who has deep LA roots, former Bruin and pro basketball player for both LA teams.
If you're looking for the best possible results after an accident, call my guy, Uncle Artie, at Pernia Law. And there's never any upfront fees. They collect when you collect. And for the record, their win-loss record puts them in the top of the standings. That's 844-DIAL-UNC. That's 844-DIAL-UNC.
If you have ever thought about remodeling your bathroom but were worried it would take too long or cost too much, then stop worrying. Right now, Jacuzzi Bath Remodel has...
Hey football fans, there is nothing sweeter than a cold glass of Stella Rosa and watching your team compete. But Stella Rosa wants to make it even sweeter and hook you up with the chance to win an experience to the biggest game of the college football season. You could win 2 tickets to the game, airfare, and a hotel for you and a friend. Head over to ESPNLADreamTicket.com to enter the Dream Ticket Sweepstakes presented by Stella Rosa, America's favorite semi-sweet, semi-sparkling wine. Please celebrate responsibly. Must be 21 or older to enter.
$45.99. That's 800-717-4599. 800-717-4599.
All the latest surrounding the Lake Show, right here on Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetzky.
It's been a big weekend for Bronny and the James family. A memorable moment for the father and son duo last night.
LeBron and Bronny on the court together.
And Bronny's first bucket on Friday night.
Bronny down the middle all the way, drives to the rim, lays it up and in, and the crowd goes nuts.
Biggest roar of the night.
Lakers Talk is presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
Now back to Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetzky.
Reminder, in about 13 minutes, we will be joined by Shawn Davis, formerly of Lakers Nation. He's got his own show now, the Sports Headline Show. You can watch it on YouTube. Great Lakers analysis. He's been covering for years. Really, really good with X's and O's breakdowns. So be talking to him around 7:30. And Funchy, before we get into the real occurrence at the top of the second quarter of last night's preseason game against the Suns, you thought I was referring to something different.
I thought you were teasing the guy that got kicked out last night. That arena. That it took like 7 or 8 police guys or police officers to kick him out or just escort him out.
That is the longest I've ever seen an ejection take.
Oh my God! If you have not seen the video, it literally took 6 to 7 police officers to escort him out.
Like, this took as long as like when someone runs on the field at Dodger Stadium, and 2 or 3 guys have to tackle him and take him from one side of the outfield to the other side or whatever. This took a long time.
And then what's so I guess the story goes is that he got the ball somehow when he was out of bounds or whatever, and he tried to shoot the ball, and he didn't want to give the ball back to the referees. And he was being belligerent about it, and he got kicked out for it.
Possession is 9/10 of the law in this guy's mind?
No. But can I tell you one thing, Andy? The cool thing about not the cool thing, but I guess the cool thing to me was that he still kept his drink while he was still getting escorted out. He still had a drink in his hand.
He's like the dude in the Big Lebowski. It's a beverage, man. Wow. Good for him.
Man, those drinks are expensive.
Yeah, you don't want to you do not want to screw around with that in one of those Crip drinks. At the very least, you pound that thing before you get arrested.
Exactly.
Get your money's worth. So last night he featured a historical moment, not yet the big one, like the one that will be most documented for the record books and the annals and the oral histories, but a jumping off point to history. Top of the second quarter, this happened.
Lakers 34, Suns 25, and Michael, this is the moment that we were waiting for. LeBron and Bronny on the court together. They're out there with Dalton Connect, Austin Reeves, and Jackson Hayes. For the Suns, it's Monty Morris, Bradley Beal, Ryan Dunn, Royce O'Neal, and Mason Plumlee. Lakers in a zone defense. O'Neal kicking to Beal. Beal drops it out of bounds. Turnover.
And it was funny. I was initially surprised that they did this in a preseason game, just because I figured with the amount of planning that is going into this, and we'll talk about the planning either before we talk to Shawn or afterwards, because make no mistake, there was a lot of planning involved with this. But I just figured with the awareness of history and all of the people involved have a certain degree of showmanship, I thought that they would wait until the regular season just to give the first time that max pop. But then it was pointed out to me, because I had not realized it, that yesterday was Bronny's 20th birthday. So then it really made sense. Like, it's the milestone of father and son playing together, but also it's on an actual milestone in Bronny's life. You know, he one more time around the sun. So the idea of LeBron and Bronny doing this together on Bronny's 20th birthday, that is, in fact, really special.
Also, Andy, don't you think that JJ would have just kept on getting asked about it? It didn't happen yet?
Well, no. I think actually most people anticipated that it would actually be in the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
I think the regular season is when he would start, the time in between the last preseason game or maybe the last one up to the season opener. I think that's when he would really start getting peppered. I think more people were like me and expected the preseason to go by without it happening. And who knows if Bronny's birthday didn't line up perfectly, if that's the way it would have been. But LeBron talked afterwards about what it meant to share the court with his son.
For a father, it means everything. For someone who didn't have that, growing up, to be able to have that influence on your kids and have the influence on your son, to be able to have moments with your son, and then ultimately, to be able to work with your son, I think that's one of the greatest things that a father could ever hope for or wish for. So it's pretty cool.
And then Bronny shared his thoughts as well.
I'm always thinking about, that's my dad, because that's literally my dad. So I just go out there and, when I'm playing, he's just my teammate. That's all I'm thinking at that point.
And it was interesting, not trying to plug Locked On Lakers. I promise there's an organic reason I'm bringing this up. Obviously, for today's show, Brian and I talked about the LeBron and Bronny moment. And we got a couple interesting comments in the YouTube, on the YouTube page. And the first one was from Mark Bethelli. Quote, I was a young radio sports dude up in Seattle when Ken Griffey and Junior played for the Mariners together. Senior had like 3 home runs that season, but one of them was back-to-back with Junior, which was the coolest moment I'd ever seen. LeBron having a kid at 19 and then having that kid be decent enough to make the league is so freaking cool. Kudos to them. And I thought this comment was cool, Funchy, just because it reminds us that the LeBron-Bronny moments, they're not going to be as frequent as Griffey Sr. and Jr. because those guys were both full-time members of the big club, and Bronny is going to spend, rightly, most of his time in South Bay because that's what's going to be best for his development. But the moments that they share together on the court, we don't know exactly what's going to happen. But if there is a cool moment, we're not going to be able to predict exactly what it is. Like Griffey Sr. and Jr. going back-to-back home runs. That is not something you can anticipate. You can't predict that. Like back-to-back home runs in a baseball game is unusual, period. Much less these two guys, father and son, it's going to happen, particularly Griffey Sr. at that age. Like that's something legitimately cool that you cannot plan for.
What if Bronny throws LeBron an alley-oop pass?
That would be amazing.
Something like that.
That would be amazing. Or if LeBron sets up Bronny for a 3, or Bronny happens to throw a really good pass to LeBron on a cut, or Bronny gets a steal, pushes ahead to LeBron, vice versa, like whatever. We don't know what it's going to be. And look, maybe the time together is, because I don't think they're going to have many times on the court together. I think it's going to be pretty limited. But it might end up kind of commonplace, just 3 or 4 minutes to feel like a basketball game, but it also might be something really cool that you didn't expect. And that, I think, is really fun about this. But there was also, too, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in the show because, again, we're going to be joined by Shawn Davis in about 5 minutes. But there's the question of when you do this. And J.J. Redick said in pregame before last night's game against the Suns that he wants to play LeBron and Bronny in the flow of a game and not in a way that he said was, quote, gimmicky. And the reality is, and I say this not throwing shade at LeBron or Bronny or anybody, because I do think the moment is cool, and I do think the moment will resonate with both of them a lot. I think it's going to resonate with a lot of Laker fans. Like, it's something really unusual and special, and Bronny seems like a really grounded, pretty hardworking, humble young man, and I think has really acquitted himself very well since joining the team. But the reality is, it is a gimmick to some degree, because under normal circumstances, you would never play, in this example, the top of the second quarter, one of your star players with the 13th guy on the roster. Like, you would not devise a way to do that. And it is about the visibility of that moment. And it is about the history and the marking of time. And if we're all being honest, there's an element of marketing with it. And again, all of this is okay, but you want to figure out the moment where it actually works. Not just, again, forget about it being gimmicky or not gimmicky, because it is in a lot of ways gimmicky. There's no way around it. You want to make sure that it doesn't actually affect the result of the game negatively, because that is something that will upset Laker fans as they set out to try to get the best seed possible in a very difficult Western Conference. So want to talk a little bit more about that and how you go about doing that, and an interesting YouTube comment that we got on the Locked On Lakers YouTube channel page. But coming up next, going to talk with Shawn Davis. He has covered the Lakers for years. He's got his new show, the Sports Headline Show, and want to ask him what he's seen over the last couple games, what he's liked, what he's curious to see more of. Lakers Talk, Andy Kamenetzky, 710 ESPN.
Just like the Lakers have a game plan on the court, you should have a Go Safely game plan off the court. If you plan to drink, plan for a designated sober driver. If you're the designated sober driver, move over a lane when you see amber flashing lights on Caltrans, law enforcement, or other emergency vehicles or tow trucks. If you can't move over safely, slow down and be work zone alert. Go Safely, California, from the California Office of Traffic Safety and Caltrans.
When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. We are ranked number 18 in the nation and number 1 in Orange County for orthopedic and spine care by U.S. News & World Report. From the surf to the green, our world-class doctors are there, which is why more Californians choose Hoag Orthopedic Institute for orthopedic and spine care more than any other hospital. At Hoag Orthopedic Institute, there is no one better at getting you back to you. Proudly founded by premier physicians in partnership with Hoag. Learn more at HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
The biggest show on the radio.
Mason and Ireland, weekdays at noon.
We are joined right now by Anthony Davis. Anthony, it's an unwritten rule in all of sports. You can't beat Father Time, except Bron is. Have you noticed any drop-off in his game?
No. Every player, as you get older, you just start shooting the basketball a little bit more.
Right.
They're kind of that old man. Yeah, they say that little old man game. But I mean, last year he shot over 40% from three. So actually, it actually helps us. So I don't think there's no drop off. I think he just kind of transitioned to the old man game where he is more efficient as far as his energy and making sure he's not, wasting any energy. Everything is a lot more efficient, with the jumper and getting fouled, getting to the line, even though he don't get to the line as much. But there's no drop off in his game.
Steve Mason and John Ireland tomorrow at noon.
Mason and Ireland on 710 ESPN.
This is Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetzky on 710 ESPN.
The purple and gold preseason is in full swing, and there's no signs of stopping for the all-time NBA scoring king.
Loose on the floor, Hayes dives, gets it, gives it to LeBron, who drives right by everybody and dunks it left-handed. What a hustle play by the Lakers.
It's the home of the Lake Show and the home of Lakers Talk.
Lakers Talk is presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
Back to Andy Kamenetzky.
All right, we are really excited to talk with Shawn Davis. He has covered the Lakers for years with outlets including Lakers Nation. He is the host of his own show, the Sports Headline Show. You can watch it on YouTube. Great Lakers coverage for years. Really great breakdown. So let's get into it. Shawn, how are you, man?
Good. How are you, man? Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, man. So we've got 2 preseason games in the books, one with LeBron, AD, and close approximation of what feels like the rotation, with the caveat of this is just the preseason, small sample size, yada, yada, yada. Few questions for you. First one, what have you seen that you liked?
I think one of the things I think I've liked the most with JJ coming in is I just think there's like a lot more structure with the Lakers offense in particular. They're way more organized than they've been in years past, and it's led to them having some really, really good results on the offensive end. So I think just the organization and really the attention to detail, which is probably, grabbing like the lowest hanging fruits, but, they have the Lakers as a franchise hasn't always kind of checked those boxes. I think at least right now it appears that they are checking those boxes.
Well,
with JJ at least.
It's interesting that you refer to that as low-hanging fruit, Shawn. I'll get to the other questions I had for you, like the part B of this part C. But the idea of it being low-hanging fruit, I actually disagree, just in the sense that I feel like the last few preseasons, it's felt like the Lakers haven't been really set on building or doing or accomplishing anything specific at all. It's felt like they've basically treated the preseason like something that doesn't really matter, that they simply have to get through. And like the idea of we are implementing structure from the outset, to me, maybe that feels like a low bar, I guess, but it doesn't feel as low-hanging fruit maybe as it should for this organization. Like, I think it really matters.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm saying low-hanging fruit because I think you look at a lot of these other teams with newer coaches are, trying to get a lot of new pieces, into their system. I think it is a little bit more of a priority for them, and I think a lot more teams are kind of doing this. Where, to your point, like the Lakers recently have kind of treated preseason like it's preseason. Let's get shots up and get into a rhythm where, with JJ, it's no, we're gonna, be detail oriented from day one, and that's been really, really cool to see. And even kind of how JJ's talked in the media, super detail oriented. It makes complete and total sense that JJ Redick is, at least in a coaching aspect, I'm sure he's friends with him personally too, but Joe Mazzulla is a guy that JJ has talked about a lot in the past. Joe Mazzulla was on JJ's podcast a couple of times as well, and that makes complete and total sense. If you listen to how JJ talks and then you listen to like a clip of Joe Mazzulla talking, you're like, oh, okay, I could kind of see the vision a little bit there.
Yeah, I realize he coaches the enemy, but Mazzulla has been very successful in a very short period of time, so that's not the worst thing in the world. What have you seen, again, caveat, small sample size, that you have not liked?
This isn't even nearly as much as something this does tie into that. I don't like how 3-point happy they've been. And what I mean by that is, like, I'm all for shooting threes, right? Like, we talk about the enemy. The Boston Celtics, one of the highest usage of, like, 3-point shots in the league, right? They shoot a bunch of threes, but they don't force threes, I feel, right? And, every once in a while you will, especially when you have guys like Tatum, for example. And, same thing here. You have Bron, you have D'Lo, Austin, very talented shooters and on-ball creators, so you're going to live with some of the forced ones. But I was talking with Jovan Buha of The Athletic earlier. He made a great point. It's like it feels like every 5 or 6 possessions or so, it's a forced three from a Rui, or Max has taken a couple of really forced ones. And JJ in a recent interview or press conference talked about how, we took 43s, which is good, but, we really want to be a 50-plus three-point shooting, 50-plus three-point attempts per game kind of team. And I really dislike that idea. Not that like shooting threes is a bad thing. I hate the idea of putting a target, like a number target on it. And because then you start getting guys shooting uncharacteristic shots, kind of peek over their shoulder saying, all right, we've taken how many threes now? Okay, cool. We got a shot to hit the 50 goal. You know what I mean? Instead of kind of letting things happen organically through the Lakers principles that they're installing offensively. And I put a tweet out earlier. I was like, 30 great threes is a whole lot better than 50 like okay threes. And I don't want the Lakers to kind of go down this rabbit hole of, again, we're going to shoot 50 threes just to say we did it, where no, let's shoot. If it's 35 this night, it's 35. If it's 48 this night, it's, instead of saying a concrete goal, it kind of shot chucking.
Well, I'm going to talk about this more in the second hour, but I get a sense, and granted, this is just a sense. I've not spent a lot of time around Redick. I don't feel like I have an absolute beat on everything that he wants. It feels to me like 50 wasn't so much literal as it was conceptually. You guys took way too few threes last year, which I absolutely 100% agree with. It was something I complained about a lot last season. So just drilling it into their heads, let's let it fly more. We'll see. I mean, if 50 really does become the baseline, I mean, that's an extreme amount of threes, so we'll see. But for the time being, I'm treating it as a more just thematic than actual instruction. Talking with Shawn Davis, the host of the Sports Headline Show, great Lakers analysis. He's been covering the team for years. What do you think is the best way for this roster to operate defensively?
I think it's kind of what JJ's talked about. It's being a switch-heavy team, and that's something I was begging them to do last season, because this is just a roster that makes more sense if we're being more aggressive in switching instead of, I don't want to say playing drop coverage primarily is conservative, but it's kind of the way the Lakers are playing is pretty conservative, and this really kind of taps into your best player's strengths by, saying, hey, especially when Vando comes back, it negates Vando's biggest weakness, in my opinion, which is screen navigation. So Vando just gets to do what he's great at, and as guard kind of in isolation on the perimeter against opposing team's best players. And then when he's off the ball, get to roam and help and do some things like that, be a weak side rim protector. But, it can't be just that. I want to see JJ be creative and mix up. Like, it might be a game where, okay, look, we're going to kind of go back to last year and be more drop-oriented. And AD is still very much in drop. But in terms of how the 1 through 4 guys are playing, kind of, being flexible with that. I can't wait. I don't know when we exactly play Denver, but I know we play Sacramento the third game of the year. I can't wait for that game. That game's actually going to kind of tell me a lot about where this team really is at. Honestly, more than the first 2 games against Minnesota and Phoenix. I think we match up pretty well with those 2 teams. But you have a team in Sacramento who the Lakers haven't really played well against in recent years that has at least similarities to the boogeyman in Denver that you haven't been in the playoffs.
It's funny. It's funny you say that, Shawn, because for all the talk about the Lakers and their issues against Denver, and I realize it comes out because it's the playoffs and Nikola Jokic is best player in the league. Like, they've been much more competitive against Denver. Like, the Kings are the team that really kicks their ass. It just hasn't mattered in a playoff setting. But they've been far worse, and AD has had way more struggles against Sabonis than Jokic.
Exactly. So that game's really going to be the teller. Like, you look at their opening stretch, I mean, I'm not going to lie. Like, you match up well with Minnesota, you match up well with Phoenix. I don't like the Cavs this season. So then you're like, your first, I mean, outside that Sacramento game, then it's like, okay, then you get to Philly, you get to Denver somewhere in November. So, yeah, just scheme versatility, mixing it up through depending on the matchup, but most importantly, playing into your best defensive player's strengths on the defensive end.
Talking with Shawn Davis, the host of the Sports Headline Show, covered the Lakers for years, recently with Lakers Nation. Again, his new show, the Sports Headline Show. JJ recently talked during a practice about how they've only installed pieces of their system because at the time when he was saying it, it would be crazy to try to cram it all into a few days. How long do you expect it to take before either they're running the entirety of their stuff or close enough? Like, what would you consider a reasonable time to feel up to speed?
You know, it wouldn't surprise me if everything's installed by the end of by the start of the season. I think JJ said recently they have 5 offensive systems or whatever. 2 of them are installed currently, so I think it's pretty reasonable to say opening night's 15 days or 22nd. So it's pretty reasonable in my opinion to say like we can get the other 3 base systems installed, but I don't think it's going to be, you know, fully coherent, I guess, if that makes sense, or like it's going to fully, you know, be ran the right way, and there's not going to be, you know, little, you know, small mishaps and stuff like that until like mid-November, early December, where you're playing around like the 20 games mark, and you know there is some new guys. I mean, Gabe is essentially a new guy because he didn't really play much last season, and when he did come back, he didn't play well. You're gonna have to get Vando back into the mix at some point. Christian Wood's gonna come back, so I think it's gonna take a little bit, but I honestly think when this team does eventually, as long as they're able to stay healthy, once the team does eventually get rolling, I think this team defensively has a higher ceiling than I gave them credit for. And I think offensively, they were a top 5 offensive team last season, like second half on, including the playoffs. But their problem was structure. You're taking that same team, taking that, and now you're giving them a structure to go operate within a pretty consistent structure for basing this only off this small sample size. And there's no reason why this can't be a top 5 offense again. And top 5 offense and a middle of the pack defense even, like, that's a really, really good team.
No, I would love to see that evolution take place. All right, a couple more for you. Pick one of these youngsters. Dalton Knecht, Max Christie, Jalen Hood-Schifino. Who are you most curious about to see their season unfold and why?
I'm going to say JHS. I feel like to a certain extent, Max and Dalton are kind of easy answers. But also at the same time, I think that those are guys I just feel more confident in them having a role. Like JJ and Dalton just make so much sense. JJ was a dynamic moving shooter. Dalton Knecht is, you know, actually more dynamic than JJ was. He has to go like put the ball down, create for himself even, get to the rim and things like that. And Max he's one of the few true two-way players this team has. So he's the first guy off the bench right now. So, I mean, I think those 2 guys are more set in stones, even if Dalton doesn't really play as much at the beginning. Whereas JHS, I just have no clue what the plan is with JHS. I think he's been a lot better in the preseason. I think he looks like an NBA player. He's playing with more confidence, be able to be a little bit more of a creator. But, you know, he needs the ball in his hands. And the amount of guys on this team that already have the ball in their hands and are also probably at their best with the ball in their hands, it's just really, really hard to really map out a role for Jalen Hood-Schifino because he's not this great off-ball shooter, not this great defender. He really does his work with the ball in his hands, and you have to beat out, I mean, bare minimum 5 guys in terms of, like, on-ball reps. So, I don't know. I'm curious to see what they're able to do. I think the fact that he's playing well now in preseason, maybe that helps his trade value, and Pete and other teams look at the Lakers roster and say, yeah, he's in a crowded room of guys that need the ball in their hands, we have a spot for them. You know, we'll toss you some assets or whatever. So for me, it's JHS for sure out of that group.
And then last question for you, Shawn. We were talking before about the LeBron Bronny moment last night. What do you see as his potential or upside or just best realistic case comp in terms of thinking about him compared to another player?
Yeah. Bronny is such an interesting player to talk about, really for no reason, because I think Bronny's one of the guys that you kind of see the vision more that with, and this is gonna sound weird. You see the vision with Bronny in terms of like, in my opinion, like the clear-cut skill set and what player he's gonna be, arguably more than what you see with Dalton. And that's, you know, that's not me shading Dalton. Dalton has the upside and ceiling, which kind of makes it weird to like there's a high and low end variance for Dalton, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Whereas with Bronny, it's like he's, you know, Eric Bledsoe light, you know, good defender, smart player, you know, inconsistent but can knock down the three, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Or another guy, like, ironically, 80% of what Alex Caruso was, even. Like, again, good defender, can play make, inconsistent, well, not when he was with the Lakers, but can shoot the three. Kind of guys in that mold. But like, that's the skill set. Like, that's it, right? You don't have to, like, jump around 7 different hula hoops or whatever to figure out what Bronny is as a skill set, like you do for a Maxwell Lewis, for example, where in terms of mapping out his NBA skill set, you don't know what the hell that guy's NBA skill set is.
I mean, it's funny that you say that, Shawn. Like, if for all of the question marks about Bronny and exactly who he is as a player, what he's going to do, if I had to, in important moments, play Bronny or Maxwell Lewis, the answer is Bronny, and it's not even that close. Like,
not close.
I have no idea what Maxwell Lewis is going to turn into, but thus far it has not been promising. He is Shawn Davis. He is the host of the Sports Headline Show. You can check it out on YouTube. Follow him on Twitter at Shawn_DAVI. Shawn, appreciate the time, man. Hope to have you on again over the course of the season.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on, and go Lakers.
There you have it. Shawn Davis, again, check out his work. Coming back, I want to talk a little bit more about the Bronny situation and where exactly you figure out how to play him, and also the question that Shawn brought up about threes and the Lakers and what is a suitable amount of threes to take and what is just plain YOLO. We will get into that next. Lakers Talk, Andy Kamenetzky, 710 ESPN.
The fun way to drive home is with Sedano and Cap.
Weekdays after Mason in Ireland.
Pep is here. And Pepe and I just had a in-depth conversation in Spanish.
What, you think I'm not listening?
In a second language.
You think I don't? What do you guys think? Like you're going to talk about me and I don't know what you guys are saying?
Actually, we're talking about D'Lo.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, Kaplan.
Yes, sir.
You're not that important. We don't talk about you. Seriously, we have other things.
Sedano and Cap tomorrow at 3 p.m.
on 710 ESPN.
Hey, LA, let's talk trash. Food waste, that is. Tossing your food scraps in the regular trash sends them to landfills where they release harmful gases like methane. Fight global warming by simply sorting your food scraps and placing them in your green bin. It's quick, it's easy, it helps protect our planet. Ready to do your part? Visit cleanla.com or call 888-CLEAN-LA for more tips. This message funded by Cal Recycle.
Hey guys, it's Cap, and if you're looking to sell your home, call Seller's Advantage. They'll make you a great cash offer with no need for repairs. They buy it as is. With Seller's Advantage, there are no agents. They can close within days, and they buy with cash. They'll even offer a $10,000 advance to help with moving costs and other expenses. Check out their reviews online and call for a no-obligation offer at 888-390-AS-IS, 888-390-2747, and visit sellersadvantage.com.
Don't worry, sell happy with Seller's Advantage.
Accident,
Or injury, call Jacob and Bronny. Call Jacob.
Hey guys, what's up? It's George Sedano. Waiting is never fun. Usually nothing good happens when you wait. My friend Jacob in the law offices of Jacob and Bronny want to make sure you don't wait after an accident. Immediately after an accident, before talking to the insurance company, call Jacob, man. Jacob and his team will do all the work, make all the phone calls, handle the paperwork, set up the doctor's appointments, whatever the case may be. And when you speak to the insurance company first, it's a big mistake. Because you know why? They may later use your words against you. However, Jacob and his team, they'll guide you through the process, get you the compensation you deserve, and you don't have to pay Jacob unless he wins. Nothing out of pocket. Free. Gratis. So if you're injured in an accident, the first name, the first thought, the first call should be Jacob. Jacob, Jacob, Jacob. The consultation is free. That's right. Free. I told you. Gratis. Don't wait. Call Jacob 24 hours a day at 844-24-JACOB. That's 844-24-JACOB. Call him 844-24-JACOB or visit him online at calljacob.com.
Call Jacob.
Are you looking to stay up to date on all Lakers news during preseason? Make sure you've signed up for Lakers emails to keep you in the loop. Lakers pregame emails provide the latest game day information and projected starters. With Lakers weekly emails, get electric game highlights and exclusive Lakers promotions straight to your inbox. Sign up now at Lakers.com/emails. That's Lakers.com/emails. Let's go, Lakers.
Lakers Talk continues on 710 ESPN.
Anthony Davis and the Lakers are back at it.
Davis spin to the rim and dunks it. Beautiful move by Davis.
AD is looking strong and already throwing it down this preseason.
Alley-oop to AD, slam dunk. That was too easy. Anthony Davis just ran to the rim and nobody went with him.
Lakers Talk is presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
More Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetzky right now.
Little musical youth. Pass the Dutchie. Bronny is one of the youths, by the way, of this team. Thank you again to Shawn Davis from the Sports Headline Show for joining us. 877-710-ESPN. If you want to react to anything Shawn said, anything I have said over the first hour, any thoughts you have about the Lakers over the opening two preseason games, Betto Duran, the host of pregame, halftime, and postgame, all season, our coverage of the Lakers right here on 710 ESPN. He's going to be joining at 8:15. But I wanted to swing back to the question of LeBron and Bronny and the moment when it happens in the regular season. And it is something, by the way, that J.J. Redick has said before. He thinks will happen sooner rather than later, which makes sense. Because you don't want this becoming something that is asked about before every single game. Because the longer it goes before we have this moment with LeBron and Bronny, the more it starts becoming something that hangs over the team and something that J.J. Redick may eventually feel compelled to do just to get everybody to shut the hell up about it. And then it happens at a bad time. And what makes this complicated is Redick said recently, it was actually before Sunday's game against Phoenix, that he wants this to happen in the flow of a game and for it not to be, as he said, quote, gimmicky. And the reality is there's a certain element of gimmicky to this that cannot be avoided. And I'm not saying that to crap on it. I'm not saying that to criticize it. I'm not saying it with any negativity at all. I think it will be cool for LeBron and Bronny. I think it will be cool for a lot of Laker fans. I think it'll be cool for the Lakers franchise itself. Like, the Lakers are a franchise that revels in its own history, understandably. They have the best history of any organization in the NBA. They have one of the best histories in all of professional sports. So they love this stuff. But where you go about doing it, I think is going to be really interesting. And on the Locked On Lakers YouTube page, got an interesting comment from Cosmic Eddie. I appreciate the convo on Bronny, the one that my brother Brian and I had for today's Locked On Lakers. In my humble opinion, it's a win-win situation if the Lakers choose a game that they should crush, no matter who is in the game, including Bronny. If the Lakers are up by 5 or 10 and Bronny goes in at the top of the second quarter and they lose ground in this scenario, it would make no difference, especially since the normal rotation is nearly 3/4 of the game remaining. Teams like Detroit or San Antonio, I would personally not include them, but that's who Cosmic Eddie included, Washington or Toronto are teams greatly engaged in the Cooper flag sweepstakes. And this is an interesting idea, like the idea of trying to soften this in some ways for Bronny and for the team, because what you really do not want is for this moment to take place in a game where the Lakers lose. And it feels like maybe they are up 5-10 points at the top of the second. Bronny comes in for 4 minutes, and that lead goes from, say, 7-1 in 4 minutes, which, by the way, can happen in any NBA game. That happens all the time. But if it happens in this moment where you know that J.J. Redick messed with the rotation for a very specific non-basketball reason, I can promise you Laker fans are going to blame that moment on the loss. Whether that is accurate analysis, fair analysis, dumbass analysis, I can promise you that is what's going to happen. So there's going to be planning involved with this. And then the idea of, doing this against the Detroits or Torontos of the world, and you look at the Lakers' opening schedule. They play Toronto twice, games 6 and game 10 of the opening 10, and they play Detroit in the 7th game. But then you start thinking about, okay, the first 2 of those are on the road. Do you want this moment to happen on the road? I imagine the Lakers would prefer it didn't. I would imagine LeBron and Bronny would prefer that it didn't. I imagine that the decision makers involved in this, and again, it is a decision being made.
Wouldn't the only road game that makes sense would be versus Cleveland, in Cleveland?
Maybe, but that's a really difficult game. That's the problem with, I understand where your head's at, and they play an early road game against the Cavs. But the problem is, that is a losable game. Like, the Cavs are a good team.
Oh, yeah.
I don't love every element of their fit.
But they're a top 6 team in the East.
Yeah, I mean, they went 2 rounds in the playoffs last year. In their building, that's a game you can lose. And that's what I just think is really fascinating about this, because the truth is, this is not something that can be done organically. It's impossible, because it's not a decision Redick would make organically. It is gimmicky to some degree. Again, that doesn't make it a bad thing. I'm just being honest about it. So there is planning that goes into it, and how they figure to go about doing that planning, I think, is going to be really, really interesting to watch. Coming up next, though, somebody very, very recognizable, a massive, massive star who is associated with the Lakers, is getting a huge honor, and we're going to talk about that next. Lakers Talk, Andy Kamenetzky, 710 ESPN.
At Hyundai, we make a big deal about the little things, like the little fact that 9 Hyundai vehicles have earned IIHS Top Safety Picks this year, and offering a little thing called America's Best Warranty, because delivering safety and quality, pretty big deal. Visit your nearest Hyundai dealer today. Hyundai, there's joy in every journey.
Right now, for a limited time, get 1.99% APR for 60 months on the Hyundai Tucson or Tucson Hybrid. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today. Offers end October 31st. Call 562-314-4603 for details.
Travis Rogers and DeMarco Farr.
Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. after Greeny.
I intellectually understood.
I have a good anchor. Yes.
That you were stronger than me.
Yeah?
Okay, I knew that. But then you picked me up and lifted me over your head. Let me say that again for people that might not. And this is not a euphemism. This is not me making something up. He picked me up off of. I'm 6'3", about 230 pounds.
Leverage, man. Come on.
He picked me up off the ground and lifted me over his head like I was his 5-year-old son.
Leverage. Come on. It was fun.
DeMarco, that was a very. I said it to you. I said, now I know. I know what you're about. I know what you're capable of.
You were surprisingly lighter than I thought.
No one had picked me up like that since I was 8? Really?
Weekday mornings at 9 a.m.
It's Travis and DeMarco
on 710 ESPN.
Every 40 seconds, a child is reported missing. That's 2,000 children every single day. It's a heart-wrenching reality that we can no longer ignore. Find the Children is a non-profit organization dedicated to helping find missing kids. You can be a part of their mission by donating your unwanted vehicle, running or not. Call 1-800-294-0222. We guarantee that you will receive the maximum tax deduction. We provide fast, free pickup with 24-hour response. Call 1-800-294-0222. Find the Children provides crucial resources to help find missing children and educational materials to teach kids how to recognize and avoid predators. Our recovery programs have a proven track record of reuniting kids with their families. It's time to act. Donate your unwanted or unused car. Help us build a world where every child is safe. Pick up the phone and call 1-800-294-0222. Together, we can bring these kids home safely. This advertisement was paid for in partnership with Cars R Us and Find the Children.
710 ESPN, your home for the 17-time world champion Lakers.
KSPN Los Angeles, a Good Karma Brands radio station. 710 ESPN, the radio home of the purple and gold, and the home of Lakers talk.
Last night in Palm Springs, it was a historic moment, not only for the Lakers, but for the entire NBA.
And Michael, this is the moment that we were waiting for. LeBron and Bronny on the court together.
It's a new edition of Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetzky.
The Lakers preseason is underway as LeBron and Bronny look to make more history this year and get the Lakers back to their winning ways.
To be able to have that influence on your kids and have that influence on your son, to be able to have moments with your son, and then ultimately, to be able to work with your son, I think that's one of the greatest things that a father could ever hope for or wish for, so it's pretty cool.
Lakers Talk is presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
Lakers Talk is on. Here's Andy Kamenetzky.
Lakers Talk continues till 9 o'clock tonight. Andy Kamenetzky. We're going to be talking with Betto Duran in about 15 minutes. As you all know, he is your pregame, halftime, and postgame host for every game all season. All the games obviously heard right here on 710 ESPN. Next one coming up this Thursday, 5 p.m. against the Bucks. Interesting announcement, kind of flew under the radar, even for me, like the last few days ago, from the Hall of Fame. They announced that in the next induction, it's going to include Billy Crystal, Alan Horwitz, Spike Lee, and Jack Nicholson.
You can't handle the truth!
As part of a Hall of Fame superfan celebration. Obviously, Jack Nicholson is as associated with the Lakers as any celebrity is with any sports team anywhere. Spike Lee with the Knicks.
Wait till they get a load of me.
Love this. Keep doing it. Billy Crystal with the Clippers, and Alan Horwitz, who is a developer, I believe a land developer with the Sixers. And this is, I think, a really...
Here's Johnny!
It's a really fun way to acknowledge, the pop cultural connection that has only really grown over the years with the NBA and Hollywood, entertainment, all of that stuff. And no team in, I would say, forget the NBA, no team in sports, certainly in this country, North America at the very least, no team is more synonymous with celebrities than the Lakers. And, Jack Nicholson is the face of this, but anybody who's ever gone to Laker games over the years, you see celebrities there all the time. And if you spend enough time at Laker games, and me, Funchy, other people, we go to enough of these for work and other reasons, that you start noticing who's there regularly, who's been there regularly for years, who are the fans there, the celebrities that they don't care about looking cool at a Laker game. Like, they will get up, they will cheer, they will act like a fan. And it got me thinking about if you assembled a roster like the ultimate Lakers celebrity fan roster, who would it be? And I originally thought about this just starting 5, but then I realized, like, okay, that's too easy. Like, there's too many people I'm leaving out of this. So, Funchy, I got a 15-man roster. And anybody who wants to weigh in, by the way, 877-710-ESPN. If you think that I left somebody out, or hit me up on Twitter, @CamBrothers. If you think that I left out anybody obvious, put someone in that shouldn't be in there. But I have a 15-man roster because NBA teams have 15 players, 13 dress for a game, 2 are part of the team, but they do not dress. I managed to come up with 15. Here's what I have. On the team, but not dressing, super producer Jeffrey Katzenberg.
Okay.
He's been a regular for a long time. And Arsenio Hall.
Arsenio is a big Laker
yes, he
fan.
is.
Yes.
I mean, he is a genuine big Laker fan. I have not seen him there lately as much.
No, not.
But I want to pay my respects. So they made the roster, but they do not dress for games. They're not going to play.
All right.
Then dressed, but outside of the rotation. I'm not saying they definitely won't play, but they cannot expect playing time. And again, when I throw out these names, you'll realize just how deep this thing goes, because the 3 people I'm going to name, they are real Laker fans. Kendrick Lamar.
Yes.
O'Shea Jackson Jr.
Huge.
Yes.
That's his world.
Yes. Loves
wrestling and Lakers.
Yep. And you know, does a little acting on the side.
Yes.
Den of Thieves
and
2.
the Raiders as well.
Which I cannot wait to see Den of Thieves 2.
Yes. I saw the trailer. I loved it.
And Jack Black.
Yes.
Jack Black. I have interviewed.
Shallow Hal.
I have interviewed Jack Black about the Lakers. He's an LA native. Like, he loves the Lakers. Those 3 are dressed, but outside the rotation. They're guys 11 through 13. You know, they might play if someone's in foul trouble, but they can't expect time. Next 5, they don't start, but they are in the rotation. Andy Garcia.
Yes, I see him a lot, and I get
always
starstruck when I see him because of Ocean's 11.
Oh yeah, 12, 13.
Also, Untouchables. Yes,
still a very handsome man. Andy Garcia, Anthony Kiedis, the Red Hot Chili Peppers,
the front man.
Yep, he is in the rotation, but he does not start. Snoop Dogg.
Yes.
Massive Laker fan.
I love it when the Lakers do bad and he's like on Instagram just talking all the stuff about them.
You as a Laker, I mean, you do not want to get on Snoop's bad side because the world will hear about how you bleeped up that shot or bleeped up that sequence. Will Ferrell.
Yes.
There all the time. Another LA native.
I saw him at a couple games last year too.
Truly loves the team. And Leonardo DiCaprio. That's These guys are in the rotation, but they do not start.
Leo, bring one of those girls when you come next time.
You're going to have to be more specific. We just know they will be under 25. And then here are your... Am I wrong?
Yes.
Am I wrong?
Yes, you're right. Totally right about that.
Yeah. Your starting 5 of Laker celebrity fans. These are like the real deal, the realest deal of all of them. Ice Cube.
Huge fan.
I mean... Today was a good day. Checks a specific Laker game against the Supersonics that people have tracked down exactly what game he's talking about.
Was it a game like in 1990?
It's in the early 90s,
Yes.
yes. I don't remember exactly what year, but it was the early 90s. People figured it out, like which game he was referring to. So Ice Cube, Flea, second Red Hot Chili Pepper, but Flea is the much more... I think vocal.
Also a caller to our station as well when he's frustrated with the Lakers.
Yep, caller of the station. He is a friend of my various incarnations of podcasts and radio shows. So, and he's been on Locked On Lakers, available 5 days
and also
a week.
just a real fan. Like he'll talk to you about the team, the offense, who's doing bad, who's doing good.
I don't think Flea will mind me sharing this. There was one time where I was walking the dog, and I've texted at times back and forth with Flea about the Lakers or whatever. And all of a sudden, I feel my phone vibrating, and I look, and it's FaceTime. And it's it's from Flea. And I'm like, okay, this has to be like a butt dial or something. There's no way Flea is FaceTiming me.
Yeah.
But it keeps going. I'm like, okay, maybe he is. So I answer it, and it turned out he had a Laker question for me. Like he was debating something with his wife. And he was like, who's right? I'm like, I hate to say this, but your wife. She was
What was the question, you know?
I do not
Okay.
remember. But, I mean, Flea, that dude, frankly, he loves his LA sports teams.
Mhm.
Big Rams fan, big Dodgers fan, but he loves the Lakers. Diane Cannon, of course.
Yes, I see her, and I've seen her since I've been a kid. And don't hate me for asking this question. Why is she famous?
She was a very big actress, particularly in the 70s, like the 60s and 70s. I believe Love Story was with Ryan O'Neal. I believe was her biggest movie.
And she has famous parents, right?
I don't know if she has famous parents. I do not know. Okay. But she was for a period a very big actress. I want to say more in TV than in film, but I'm not 100% sure. But what I am 100% sure about is she is a Laker diehard.
Can I tell you what I know her from? And you're probably just gonna laugh like crazy. I know her from Caddyshack 2.
Yes, I am going to laugh. She has, by the way, been nominated for a Golden Globe Award, 3 Academy Awards.
Okay, all right. See, I'm sorry, I don't know. I guess I gotta Google her.
I actually did not know that. She was nominated for Bob and Carol and Ted and Alice. She was nominated for Heaven Can Wait for an Oscar.
It's with Warren Beatty, right?
Yeah, and then she was nominated for a Best Live Action Short Film as a producer.
Jeez.
I truly did not know that. And then, obviously, the point guard of this team, the leader, the captain, it is Jack Nicholson.
Yes.
I mean,
You can't handle the truth.
If you are arguing with me, you truly cannot handle the truth. So, again, your roster is Cube, Flea, Denzel, Diane Cannon, Jack Nicholson, your starters, Andy Garcia, Anthony Kiedis, Snoop Dogg, Will Ferrell, and Leonardo DiCaprio in the rotation. Dressed but likely not playing as much, Kendrick Lamar, O'Shea Jackson Jr., Jack Black, and then on the team but not dressing, Jeffrey Katzenberg, Arsenio Hall. Again, 877-710-ESPN, or hit me up on Twitter if you think that I have left anybody out.
So I went down a rabbit hole of other, celebrities that for other NBA teams, and yes, nothing touches the Lakers. Some of the weird things I saw was Ben Folds of the Ben Folds Fives. He loves the Charlotte Hornets.
I think he's actually from North Carolina.
Okay,
I think that's
like
the
he
reason
offered
why.
to be their pit band or whatever.
I am
for a season.
Pretty sure he is from that region. So
Okay.
that would explain a lot. Whether you are heading to the stadium to cheer on the Lakers or to watch a game at a friend's house, commit to the Go Safely game plan. If you plan to drink, plan ahead. Leave the keys behind. Get a sober, designated driver. Still need a sober ride home? You have options. Use public transit or a ride-hailing service. Stick to that game plan. Whatever you do, don't let yourself or let your friends land a technical foul by driving impaired. If you drive while impaired, you could get arrested, or worse, you could be involved in a traffic crash that causes serious injury or death. Even the slightest impairment can hinder your ability to drive safely. Celebrate a sober ride home. That's always a win. Don't let friends, don't let yourself drive drunk. Go safely. California, from the California Office of Traffic Safety and Caltrans. Coming up next, we will talk with Betto Duran, host of Lakers pre-halftime and post, right here on 710 ESPN. Andy Kamenetzky, Lakers Talk.
Over 20 years ago, the first batch of Tito's handmade vodka was distilled in the heart of Austin, Texas. Since then, its roots have stayed put, and its vodka continues to be made on the same land where Tito built his dream. A distillery called Mockingbird that houses a simple vodka with a spirit the size of Texas and as good as the day it was born. Learn more about the Tito's story at Tito'sVodka.com. That's Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Hey, it's Mace here to tell you about the only place I play poker, the Commerce Casino. Here's why. Commerce Casino, largest poker room in the world, best poker action anywhere. So there's always a seat for you at the Commerce. The poker action never ends, and this year alone, Commerce Casino is paying north of $20 million in jackpots. Great food, friendly staff, beautiful hotel rooms, daily tournaments only at the Commerce Casino. Visit CommerceCasino.com to learn more, and I'll see you at the Commerce.
It's the Travis and DeMarco Show.
Every weekday morning at 9 a.m.
Have you ever eaten a 7-Eleven hot dog before midnight?
Yes.
You have?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Of course.
I've never had the pleasure.
Yes.
Yeah.
On the way to practice. Oh, no doubt.
You would practice on 7-Eleven hot dogs?
Oh, my God. Great practice. Good for get off. Oh, yeah.
Well, you're jet propelled.
Absolutely.
Right?
Said hike. Let's go.
It's Trav and D-Farr.
Back tomorrow morning after Greeny on LA's mega sports station, 710 ESPN.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
This is Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetzky on 710 ESPN.
The purple and gold preseason is in full swing, and there's no signs of stopping for the all-time NBA scoring king.
Loose on the floor. Hayes dives, gets it, gives it to LeBron, who drives right by everybody and dunks it left-handed. What a hustle play by the Lakers.
It's the home of the Lake Show and the home of Lakers Talk.
Lakers Talk is presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
Back to Andy Kamenetzky.
There are many hosts at this station who like to present themselves as man of the people, men of the people, even women of the people. But to the best of my knowledge, there is only one host at this station who has actually been voted man of the people with a Mandy to show for it. He is the host of Lakers pre, halftime, and post all season for the Lakers this year. Betto Duran joining me. How are you, man?
I don't know if anybody else at the station would be able to name Paperboy. Whoever decided to play Paperboy, well done. Well done. Whoever really did that tonight, fantastic work.
I mean, take a guess. Take a guess.
It's got to be Funch because he's the only one.
It is Funchy. That's Funchy right
exactly.
now. He's nodding. He knows it was him. All right, so what are some of the big things you've noticed with how the Lakers and Luke have operated over the last couple preseason games?
Okay, so there's only been 2 games, right? And only one that had LeBron and AD yesterday, and they're ready to go. I mean, you already knew that. You know what I like about this team is that we know people's role. And I said that last night on the post game. I said it the other night. I said it to Funch in the game. Like, okay, we know who the starters are. Boom, you know your role. And that's huge for a player. Because remember last year in the beginning, it was, so Rui's not going to play today?
Yeah.
So Austin Reeves isn't going to get minutes? So who's chirping? Whose agent is complaining? Who's doing what? It was drama from the get-go with that. And you don't have it right now. Now it's more of, hey, Max Christie, remember that? He would have a DMP or he would have 6 minutes, and all of a sudden he had 30 minutes. Like, you know, Max Christie last night, 29 minutes. He looks bigger. Okay, they gave him the contract of 4 years, $32 million. What I like about this team is that they're going to allow players to play themselves into a rotation or play themselves out of a rotation. It's no longer the coach's favorite or they like him because he knows what he's done. It's more of like you can see with your own eyes. You, the fan, and the Laker fans are super intelligent. You know that. You deal with the Locked On Laker fans a lot, and they know when they crave information, but they also just want you to be on the up and up with them. So a player like Dalton Connect, he's ready. He's 23 years old. He's also a rookie who's older than the Lakers' Jalen Hood-Schifino and Max Christie and Bronny James, right? So that's just the level of where you're going to be at right now. But I like that they're giving the young players a chance to show the new coaching staff and everybody else involved, this is what I can do. And I really like that Max Christie is getting 29 minutes a game to show something.
Do you feel the same as me in terms of this preseason feeling like it's just more purposeful and like everybody involved is caring more than they have in recent preseasons past? Like the other ones just felt like everyone was trying to get through it because they have to. This one feels like it's actually mapped out with purpose and plan.
Yeah, well, it's not like we're taking shots at the previous coaching staff or anything like that, because they also were a young coaching staff that had to figure things out. And, one of the things that Darvin Ham did not have support in is he didn't have the sage, salty vet coaches that have been around the block, like you have with Nate McMillan or Sky Scowls. You have these guys right there for you where, you know what's going to happen for you. Where you look at Darvin's coaching staff and it's like, who's going to be the guy that can go in and kind of bridge the veteran guy and explain what's going on? They don't have that. So I think that's one of the things that J.J. Redick did a great job of finding the veteran coaches who've been around the block that know what's going on. Remember when you and I mean, we know each other for almost 20 years now. Remember our favorite coach ever, Bernie Bickerstaff?
Oh, God. He was the 6 games or whatever it was where he was the interim head coach. That was glorious. Absolutely glorious.
Because he was the coach who was like, look, I've been here, done that. I can go and tell Kobe, bam. Tex Winter would do the same thing with Jordan or with Kobe. It was like, I could tell you that. That's what Darvin didn't have last year. So if you had a player trying to figure out what's going on, where they're moping or whatever it is, you could have that coach who come over and say, like, look, this is what's going on. This is what our thinking. Maybe if you do this, pat him on the back and let's go. But you're right. I agree with you. It seems like there's a purpose for everybody where I know it's only 2 games, but just talking to guys a little bit, there's a different feel of, okay, I'm going to have a chance to show you what I'm about and not have to look over my shoulder when I have a turnover or if I miss back-to-back shots and looking up, okay, am I getting subbed out now right now? Again, only 1.5 game, but it's still an opportunity for you to show this to somebody. It's huge. It's a fresh start for everybody.
Real quick before we go into more things actually happening with this team, my favorite moment with Bernie Bickerstaff during his interim period in between Mike Brown and Mike D'Antoni, where he was the interim head coach, and he said on the record, I did this because Mitch asked me. Mitch and I have had a long friendship. He's making it clear, I don't want to do this at all.
Yeah.
Every pre or post game, whenever anybody asked him questions about his plans for the team, his response was always just something to the degree of like, why are you asking me this? I'm not the coach of this team.
Like, that was it. I'm not the coach. I'm not the coach.
Stop pretending I actually am making decisions. I am biding time until Mike D'Antoni is off crutches. That's all I'm doing. Stop treating me like I'm the coach of this team. Like his open disdain.
Yeah. And that's been the problem for the Lakers, is that lack of continuity with the coaching staff, where players are trying to figure out, okay, if I do this, what am I doing? And then they're gone the next year, right? I'm doing it. Like, Bernie Bickerstaff had that attitude, like, I'm like the coach, I'm going to be here. J.J. Redick, he is intelligent. He is smart. He went to Duke. He'll tell you that, right? Like, he goes back and forth, and he'll have the jazz with everybody. Him and BT know each other well. They're going to go back and forth. It kind of reminds me, I'm not saying that this is Phil, but you knew that if you asked Phil Jackson a question, it better be a question. Don't you come with him with the talk about. Don't come up with him with the statement. Ask a freaking question, and you better know what you're asking, and don't waste your time asking question for question's sake. I think JJ is going to be kind of along the lines, along that way, where it's also going to be the same way with his players. It's going to be, I'm one of those who's like very, very hesitant to see if this is going to work out with JJ and his coaching staff, but so far so good, because you're hearing the players buy in, and that's all that really matters.
Yeah, for that matter, Kobe was a lot like that too. Like if you asked him a question just because you wanted a soundbite, he would sniff that out and he would make it clear that's a dumb question. Like, why are you asking me this? And I didn't mind because ultimately I think it makes you better at your job.
Absolutely. Remember, we cut our teeth with Greg Popovich at Clipper games. So, yeah.
That's funny.
You know what I was thinking about this too? So I just got done with my evening walk right now because I can't run yet because I had shoulder surgery. So I'm walking and I'm listening to the show and I'm just thinking, how many years have I been doing this? When you had your LA Sports blog, right? You and your brother would have that. That was like 2008, 9, somewhere around that area. And then you guys had like the Saturday show on ESPN when this station started. Because I was thinking about it. My son was in T-ball at that time. I called you from one of Mateo's T-ball games, and I also called you from swimming lessons. And I just got done talking to him right now. This dude's a sophomore in college in New York City right now. So, like, we've been around a long time.
I know. We've seen a lot.
At this station.
seen a lot.
We're like Bernie Bickerstaff. We don't even work here.
Talking with Betto Duran, the pre-halftime and post-game host for the Lakers all season. He does, by the way, work here when he does this. Betto,
Yes.
to make sure everyone knows, Betto actually is getting paid to do those shows.
But I would do it for free because this is fun, man. This is a great opportunity, and it's a privilege to work there.
Okay, I want to get to the fans, what you've heard from them so far in a second, but you mentioned Mateo, and there's two things I wanted to ask about that. First of all, because Mateo played high school basketball at a pretty high level, he is still playing. He's playing in college, correct?
Yeah, he's playing at a small Division III in New Jersey. But yeah, so he's the same age as Bronny.
Right.
So watching LeBron and his son Bronny James on the same court yesterday, it was like, wow, like we would go to the same summer tournaments, and when my son went to St. John Bosco, Bronny went to Sierra Canyon, and Bronny was there. The schools would play against each other, and then you just see it, and you're like, okay, this guy's there. And like and one of Bronny's brother, his Bryce, their AAU team has members of Mateo's like clique and his friends on there. So I've heard stories about those kids. So like I've heard nothing but great things about Bronny, the kid, and how wonderful he is, how respectful he is, how he's thoughtful, and like he's just a kid. And it's like crazy that he's now a grown man in the NBA.
What had been the general consensus on him in high school in terms of potential before the cardiac arrest? Because I think it's easy to forget how much that threw everything for a loop for Bronny. But before then, what were people seeing as his potential path?
Well, the thing is, when Bronny was in high school, he wasn't the best player on his team at Sierra Canyon. He wasn't like all league or anything like that. So was there a big marketing campaign behind him? Of course. He went to the McDonald's All-American game because we're going to watch that game because of that. But the kid, from what I've been told, has never felt like he's entitled to this. Like he does do the work. And with the word with Bronny over the years was a lot of potential, college for a couple years. There could be something in the NBA for him. I don't think anybody expected the one and done, but because he still had to grow. And you see him now, I'm like, when I interviewed him at Media Day last week, I was like, whoa, this kid's like put on some pounds, put like some effort. And then you see who he's working out with in the summer. Obviously with his dad, he's going to these different runs and he's doing a lot of different stuff. So being around it. And Bronny going back to college wasn't going to do him any well because you're going to work now every single day with the pro trainers. And like, look, if you're taking a philosophy class at a USC, are you really doing anything? No, right? You went there. You ain't paying attention to that, man. Come on, bro. Is he going to the 9-0? No, he's too famous to go to the 9-0, right? So he's too young, actually.
Everyone knows his actual birthday. They know he's too. Yeah. For a fact, they know he's too young.
Is he a project? Absolutely, he's a project. Is he going to be in the G League most of the time?
Yeah.
Was it cool to see yesterday? Yeah. Would we all do it for our kid? Absolutely. If his name was different, would he be in the NBA right now? Probably not. He'd probably be at a second year in college. But there is a lot of potential, there's a lot of growth, and the kid's only going to get bigger, man. He's going to be one of the late bloomers.
I wanted to ask you, too, because you've witnessed the work that goes into, at the high school level, putting yourself in the position to play in college. Like whether you're talking about some of the kids Mateo played against or what you witnessed Mateo do. Like, what is it like just seeing young kids be that laser focused?
Yeah, there's a kid that really stands out, Peyton Watson. He went to Long Beach State.
He's on the Denver Nuggets for people who aren't aware.
That UCLA one and done. Also, remember Amari Bailey was at UCLA one and done, right? Yep. Amari Bailey was the kid who was at Sierra Canyon with Bron. He's the one who had the big hype coming in for Chicago, and it was like, okay, he hasn't panned out. He's in the G League. Peyton Watson was a kid at Long Beach Poly went to UCLA, and at UCLA didn't do much, but he grew. But he is just gotten so much better, NBA champion, all that good stuff. Those kids right now in high school, they are so different. They are so wired. And I know we want to take our shots all the time, say, hey, you basketball ruins this, who's doing that. But for the elite kids, they get it. They know what they're doing. They know how to do it. As far as like the training, their nutrition, it's real easy for us to get on our soapbox and old man yell at clown and say, back in the day, but that's just the modern day right now. Peyton Watson is going to be one who's going to continue to get better and better. At the same time, you have kids who, for example, like a kid like Amari Bailey, who we thought was going to be a lottery, this and that, and boom, and he hasn't panned out. Yet at the same time, one of his teammates, Jaime Hawkins, stayed at college for 3 years, and look what he's doing. Everybody has a different path, and it's about staying on the road. There was a kid who would have been the number one consensus in ninth grade. It came Mikey Williams out of San Diego. He's now at Central Florida, got into some trouble, like had interaction with the law, like a gun shooting, all kinds of stuff, and you don't even know where he's at right now. And that was the kid who was like, that's the anointed one. That's the one who's here. But there's a lot of young talent coming through. Gilbert Arenas' kid is going to be really good. He was part of Team USA. And Gilbert puts his kid, instead of with a fancy school, he's at Chatsworth High School. That way, he said, because he wants his kid to make sure he's the main ball handler and he has no help. He's got to learn how to survive and beat people. Taj Ariza is really, really good. Trevor's kid. He's at Westchester now. He's really good. So, like, these kids that are the
he's
sons
playing
of,
at Westchester like his dad?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
he was at St. Bernard for the first 2 years. And now he's at Westchester. So, there's just so many kids that are just coming up because they have the example of what to do. But, for Bronny, back to the original question, he wasn't like the main guy. He wasn't the star, but he's going to have a longer opportunity to prove what he can. And the kid does work. The kid is going to put in the work.
Last question for you, and we're talking with Betto Duran, the host of Lakers pre-halftime and post all season right here on 710 ESPN. What are you hearing from the fans in terms of their reaction to small sample size theater? We know it. You've said earlier it's a smart fan base, but it is also a very passionate, demanding fan base.
Let me tell you something. There's nothing like a post game on a Sunday night preseason when the NFL is going on, the Rams get beat up, and the Dodgers are playing the Padres. So right now everybody's calm, right? Everybody's good, but they are going to come with a lot of questions. I think the good thing yesterday for the Lakers was you saw that Gabe Vincent got some run. Cam Reddish got some run. That these guys are going to have an opportunity to play themselves into shape, and that's good. So right now, Laker fans, the majority are positive on what's going on. And then you had your couple who were like, oh, this is trash, this is trash, this is trash. And it's like, okay, I reminded, and Funch heard me every single segment I started this. Rob Pelinka said in the pregame, we are going to tinker. We are going to process. We're going to try to get better day by day. And the fact that JJ Redick threw out 4-guard lineup the other day, I'm like, you're just trolling us, bro. Like, I'm impressed by this. Like, this is, and then the first play that he ran was a pick and pop 3 for AD, right, the other day. Like, okay, I see what you're doing. And then in the first game, he ran the horns, a play that Dan Hurley runs at UConn, the first game. Like, he's running the horn section that the UConn would play. I'm like, oh, this is the subtle art of trolling. I freaking love this right here. But during the season, once you lose 3 in a row, and then we'll hear from them. And you're going to be doing some of the post games, so you're going to hear from them. But also, by the way, Andy Garcia, the fact that he sits like row 15, now that is a man of the people.
Yep.
You know why he sits there, right?
The view? I assume it's a vantage point.
Yeah, it's the view.
Yeah.
He wants to be able to see the court better because he said that sitting low, sitting on the floor, it's too hard of an angle for him to understand the game.
You know this because, for people unaware, the radio setup for the games and the television for that matter too, like where Stu and Billy are, it's about maybe 1.5
It's 18 rows up.
18 rows up.
Yep.
Incredible place to watch the game. It is awesome. Like, you're just close enough where you can hear things on the court, you can hear some talking, but you're just far enough that you can see plays develop. I would much rather be there. Like, there were days, we've been sat really close before. I'd much rather be sat like 18 rows up than like 4. You just see
when we used to sit behind the basket, was it section 107?
Yeah.
When you're behind the basket, it's great to see because that's where all the celebrities walk by on the way to chairman's. And if you want to tweet pretend like you're TMZ, it's fantastic. To actually watch the game, nah.
So shout out to Andy Garcia. That is why he is in, by the way, the rotation for the Lakers.
He's in the rotation. I'm surprised you didn't put in the older woman that sits next to Jack Nicholson, that nobody knows who she is, but she's one of the richest persons in L.A.
I don't know her name. I can't name her to the team.
Yeah, nobody knows her name. Nobody knows who she is. Nobody knows what she does, but they just know that she has those seats and she's super rich.
Clearly she's got a little money in the bank, Betto, if she's got those seats every game.
Yeah.
He is Betto Duran. You will hear his voice before, during, and after every Laker game this season, the man of the people. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
What show are you doing tomorrow?
I am going to be doing the unnamed 6 to 8.
Okay.
I refuse to call it Sports Destination for LA. That's a description of this radio station. That's not a name of a show.
Okay. Well, I will. I'm doing 3 to 6 with Bergman, and then I'll hang around and talk to you for the Andy Kamenetzky show.
Let's do it, man. It's gonna be me and Marcus. So hang around, man. That'd be awesome.
The AK show.
All right, cool, brother. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it. Bye.
Yep. I don't know who that woman is either. I have no idea who she is. But yeah,
I know who. I seen her every game almost.
Yes.
I don't know who she is either, and I wonder too.
It's a real mystery.
One more name that we did not add, and I don't know if he's technically a Laker fan. Jimmy Goldstein.
He's not a Laker fan. He's
just a basketball fan.
He does not like the Lakers.
Get out of here!
No, he doesn't.
He's at more Laker games than a lot of people.
I mean, he is there to see all the other teams that they play. I think I'm sure he respects LeBron, respects Anthony Davis, respected Kobe back in the day, Pau, Shaq, whoever. But he is, my understanding, and I've seen interviews where he said that he's not a Laker fan. So Jimmy Goldstein did not make the cut. Sorry.
Okay.
Got to be a Laker fan.
All right. Love the outfits, though.
Look, Jimmy Goldstein, interesting life. We'll just leave it. We'll just leave it at that. All right. Coming up next, I got a this week in Lakers history, quick one for you, and also want to talk about J.J. Redick and 53 pointers as a goal. Lakers Talk 710 ESPN.
The fun way to drive home is with Sedano and Cap.
Weekdays after Mason in Ireland.
Pep is here. And Pepe and I just had a in-depth conversation in Spanish.
What, you think I'm not listening?
In a second language.
You think I don't? What do you guys think? Like you're going to talk about me and I don't know what you guys are saying?
Actually, we're talking about D'Lo.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, Kaplan.
Yes, sir.
You're not that important. We don't talk about you. Seriously, we have other things.
Sedano and Cap tomorrow at 3 p.m.
on 710 ESPN.
Hey kids, Uncle Artie here from Perennial Law, here to tell you about a newer sponsorship deal with Matt Barnes, who has deep LA roots, former Bruin and pro basketball player for both LA teams.
If you're looking for the best possible results after an accident, call my guy, Uncle Artie at Perennial Law. And there's never any upfront fees. They collect when you collect. And for the record, their win-loss record puts them in the top of the standings. That's 844-DIAL-UNC. That's 844-DIAL-UNC.
Lakers fans, give us a follow on Instagram. Get access to exclusive behind-the-scenes content this preseason. From player arrivals to in-game highlights, we got you covered. Receive game updates during all the action. Don't miss out on any exclusive Lakers content this preseason and watch your favorite team's highlights. Stay locked in with the purple and gold. Tap in to @Lakers on Instagram now. That's @Lakers. Let's go, purple and gold.
Hey, John Ireland here. Are you going through a life change? Whether you're downsizing, inheriting a home, or ready for a change, Seller's Advantage is here to make selling your home easy. They'll buy it as is with a competitive cash offer. No repairs, no hassle. With Seller's Advantage, you're in control. Close as quickly as you want and do it on your own terms. Check out their reviews online and call for a no-obligation offer at 888-390-AS-IS. That's 888-390-2747 or visit sellersadvantage.com.
Gear up and get out to Kelsey's at Pachanga, the top spot in the Temecula Valley to watch all the Monday Night Football action. Dozens of TVs means all your favorite games, plus a M&F food menu fit for the greatest fans. Sliders, loaded tater tots, pulled pork pizza, and a lot more. Plus, you'll find beers on tap and incredible craft cocktails at Kelsey's. Visit Pachanga.com and follow @Pachanga Casino on Instagram for info about special and exclusive NFL team appearances. We'll see you at Kelsey's at Pachanga.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
Lakers Talk continues on 710 ESPN.
Anthony Davis and the Lakers are back at it.
Davis spin to the rim and dunks it. Beautiful move by Davis.
AD is looking strong and already throwing it down this preseason.
Alley-oop to AD, slam dunk. That was too easy. Anthony Davis just ran to the rim and nobody went with him.
Lakers Talk is presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
More Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetzky right now.
Lakers Talk for another 20 minutes up till 9 o'clock. Andy Kamenetzky. We're going to be doing this most Mondays throughout the Lakers season and during the after the season ends, unless we are preempted by something like Rams on Monday night, maybe like ESPN carrying the Dodgers, an actual Lakers game.
Also, World Series coming up, too.
World Series, but most nights we are going to be here 7 to 9. Appreciate everybody being here, listening. Hit me up on Twitter at CamBrothers if you got thoughts about what we're talking about, or 877-710-ESPN. Couple quick this week in Lakers history. First, tomorrow, October 9th, 4 years ago in 2020, the Lakers and Heat were in the bubble finals, and the Heat won that game 111-108, and Jimmy Butler in 47 minutes, 35 points, 12 rebounds, 11 assists, 5 steals, and a block, got to the line 12 times, made all 12 free throws. And that was the origin of the Jimmy Butler exhausted meme. Like, that was the moment where Jimmy Butler just hanging, hung. I'm trying to describe this. He's basically like hanging over the basket.
I'm always thinking about, that's my dad, because
nope,
literally my dad.
Well, Jimmy Butler just trying to catch his wind, absolutely exhausted. But that was the moment where the meme was launched. And then this Saturday, October 12th, in 1979, Magic Johnson made his debut for the Lakers. That was the first game in what turned into a championship season. So obviously a lot of history began October 12th, 1979 for this franchise, frankly, for the NBA. Like, Magic entering the NBA.
Beginning in a Magic and Bird thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it saved the NBA. Like, Jordan took what those guys built and, turned it into something absolutely bigger. Then you had Kobe, you had LeBron, advent of social media, all sorts of stuff. But it really began, it was a floundering league until Magic and Bird became a thing. And again, that history began 1979, October 12th, Magic debuting for the Lakers against the Clippers, actually.
Wow.
Yeah. I believe still the San Diego Clippers at that point, who they have Billy Crystal being inducted into the Hall of Fame on their behalf. And honestly, other than Ralph Lawler, you could I don't mean this as shade, like, it's actually true. Other than Ralph Lawler, who is he won the Gowdy 1 year, was awarded the Gowdy, absolutely deserved. Ralph Lawler was an incredible broadcaster. You could argue Billy Crystal is the most Clipper to be in the Hall of Fame, because everyone else who has played for the Clippers.
I got one for you. Anthony Anderson. He's at a lot of Clipper games. I mean, he's well known, but I mean,
I'm a big fan of Anthony
I am
Anderson.
too.
Great
Little
actor.
Blackish, yeah.
Shout out to him on The Shield. He was incredible. But Anthony Anderson is not getting into the Hall of Fame as a Clipper fan. That's not going to happen. Billy Crystal, honestly, will become the most, other than Ralph Lawler, the most high-profile Clipper in the Hall of Fame, because guys like Bill Walton, Bob McAdoo, Adrian Dantley, Dominique Wilkins, Chauncey Billups, Paul Pierce, nobody thinks of them as Clippers. A few of those guys, they were Buffalo Braves.
Mario Odom.
Well, LO, I love LO. He's not getting in the Hall of Fame. So Billy Crystal, in a lot of ways, will represent Billy Crystal and Ralph Lawler.
He might not see the Clippers win a championship in his lifetime, and he's been a super fan since the beginning.
It honestly, it feels like the Hall of Fame putting Billy Crystal in. It's kind of like their way of saying, we're sorry, man. We are really sorry. This is for your trouble. This is for your trouble and all the years of expensive season tickets. We're going to put you in the Hall of Fame because you're never going to watch a championship. Also, we were talking before about the Lakers taking 43s Sunday in the loss to the Phoenix Suns. 40 is a lot for the Lakers. Last year they averaged, I believe it was 31 or 32 a game. It was 28th in the league, despite being a top 10 team in terms of three-point accuracy. I know we think of the Lakers as the franchise where shooters go to forget how to make outside shots, but the reality is the Lakers were a good three-point shooting team last year and inexplicably put up no threes. 40 was nice, but as far as J.J. Redick was concerned, it's just a start.
For us and our group to take 43s in a game, that's promising. It's promising. We can get it up to 50, hopefully, but 40's good.
Now, okay, I want to make it clear. I don't think anybody should take J.J. Redick literally here. I don't think Redick is actually looking for 50 to be the baseline. To put this in perspective, the Celtics led the league in threes last year. I want to say at 42 or 43 a game. That led the league. 50 would be a lot. Even in a league that is very, very three-point centric, 3 would be a lot. But I think what J.J. Redick is doing is just planting a seed in these guys' heads that if they're good at taking threes, take them. If they're good at making threes, take them. And obviously not all threes are made equally. You don't want to be gunning for the sake of gunning. You don't want to even be putting up a three-point shot that isn't as good as another one that you could create by swinging the ball a little bit. But the point being, last year, putting up so few threes, ranking 28th in the league, despite being a top 10, I believe they were 7th overall for the season, 3rd in the league after the All-Star break. That doesn't make sense. And whether you're looking at this through the lens of J.J. Redick, who has been very open about being an analytics and data-driven guy, or you're somebody like me who can just do basic math and realize that in a three-point heavy league, you're going to be just chasing constantly, trying to make up that gap if you don't take a high volume of threes, particularly if you can actually make them. There's a reason that last year after the All-Star break, once Rui was firmly in that starting 5 with LeBron, AD, D'Lo, and Reeves, and the offense was really clicking. I know some of the reason that they were scrapping to win some games was the defense wasn't at the level of the offense, but a lot of it was their shot diet. They were not taking enough threes to keep up with these other teams. It's why after the All-Star break, they had a plus-minus as a team of a little bit over 2. I looked it up today. That was the lowest of teams in the top 10 for record post-All-Star break. By a pretty big margin, their plus-minus was the lowest, and it is because they were always chasing these other teams because they weren't putting up enough points. Even with a really good offense, it was about the way you go about getting these shots. So, again, don't take J.J. Redick literally on this. It's the concept of liberating themselves to take more threes. All right, we're going to close things out next with a little crunch time. Funchy's going to lead it. Lakers talk. Andy Kamenetzky, 710 ESPN.
Just like the Lakers have a game plan on the court, you should have a Go Safely game plan off the court. If you plan to drink, plan for a designated sober driver. If you're the designated sober driver, move over a lane when you see amber flashing lights on Caltrans, law enforcement, or other emergency vehicles or tow trucks. If you can't move over safely, slow down and be work zone alert. Go Safely, California. From the California Office of Traffic Safety and Caltrans.
When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. We are ranked number 18 in the nation and number 1 in Orange County for orthopedic and spine care by U.S. News & World Report. From the surf to the green, our world-class doctors are there, which is why more Californians choose Hoag Orthopedic Institute for orthopedic and spine care more than any other hospital. At Hoag Orthopedic Institute, there is no one better at getting you back to you. Proudly founded by premier physicians in partnership with Hoag. Learn more at HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com.
John Ireland here. Let's talk about your smile. Meet Dr. Monica Madden at Beverly Hills Orthodontics, where they love supporting their athletes. Whether you're on the field, court, or track, Dr. Madden and her team will ensure you get the best orthodontic care to keep your smile strong and healthy. Check them out at BeverlyHillsOrtho.com or call 877-7-LET'S-DO-THIS. With 4 locations, your orthodontic treatment is convenient no matter where you are. 877-753-8736.
Hey, it's Travis with Prize Picks. Did you know that you can win up to 100 times your money with Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks? That's right. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. And Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. So why not join 10 million users and sign up today? Prize Picks puts its members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. So when my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. This week on Prize Picks, I'm looking at football. Patrick Mahomes, more than 267.5 passing yards, and Saquon Barkley for more than 67.5 rushing yards. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code 710 to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks. Run your game.
Hey, LA, let's talk trash. Food waste, that is. Tossing your food scraps in the regular trash sends them to landfills where they release harmful gases like methane. Fight global warming by simply sorting your food scraps and placing them in your green bin. It's quick, it's easy, it helps protect our planet. Ready to do your part? Visit cleanla.com or call 888-CLEAN-LA for more tips. This message funded by Cal Recycle.
It's crunch time on Lakers Talk.
When the clock is ticking and it's all coming down to the wire, you know what that means.
This is crunch time.
All right, what do you got there, Funchy?
I got one more Clippers superfan celebrity.
Frankie
Don't laugh
Muniz?
at this. I was going to say Frankie Muniz. Yes, Malcolm in the Middle.
Yep. That's okay. Again, like Anthony Anderson, respect, but Frankie Muniz is not going into the
He will get
Hall
a
of
star,
Fame
a star on the
with
Walk
the
of
Clippers.
Fame.
He might. I mean, he may have one for all we know.
Yeah.
Malcolm in the Middle is funny.
It is funny.
That
it really
show-
is.
That show holds up well, and also it features a friend of the station, Bryan Cranston.
Yes, and it's funny because I know him more from that show than I do from Breaking Bad.
He was so funny on that show.
Yes, so silly as Malcolm's dad.
Yeah,
I love it.
I know. The idea, by the way, there were a lot of people like, wait, Malcolm's dad is the guy playing the future drug kingpin of the Southwest?
And also the dentist from Seinfeld.
Yes.
Yes.
Who hated he crusaded against anti-dentites.
Yes. Yes, he did. You did. So we had some preseason action over the weekend, finally. We had the Warriors take on the Clippers. Warriors with their new look with no Klay Thompson. Clippers with their new look with no Paul George. Out of these two teams, what do you think is going to bottom out or play better than what they have on paper?
I don't love either team, and I think both of them has a pretty definitive ceiling. But if I had to pick which team has a higher ceiling, I would pick the Warriors. because the Warriors ultimately have Steph. And Steph is a guy that will scare the bejesus out of defenses.
Yes.
From now until the moment that he retires, or it is proven that he can't erupt for like 6 threes in 5 minutes. Until that moment ends, Steph is always going to have the ability to truly bend defenses. The Clippers' best player is Kawhi Leonard, and he is, as always, uncertain with
Did you see
health.
his big quote from over the weekend? That no one on the team impresses him.
Is it?
I don't even know if it was taken out of context or what.
I certainly hope it was. my God. I hope that was taken out of context. And look,
it's a Kawhi thing to say.
Even if you think that James Harden, the way he's bounced around the league, the way he's napalmed his way out of a few situations, has led to people being, taking a few too many shots at him on the court. Like, the reality is, I don't think he can play at that MVP level anymore. And for all those games where Kawhi is unavailable, unless Harden can really turn back the clock several years, I don't think the team's going to be dynamic enough scoring. I mean, like, Norm Powell can light it up every now and then, but if Norm Powell's like your second leading scorer in a game, like, you're in some trouble.
So I watched the replay on NBA TV this morning, and yes, the Clipper James Harden looks 2 steps slower than he did ever, and then he's not shooting. He's not looking to shoot the ball. He's looking to become a distributor, and that's when they become in trouble because they need him to score 30 points a game.
I mean, look, they need him to do both. They need him to be averaging like 30 and 50.
Yeah, exactly.
Like MVP level James Harden. He's still a good player, but I don't know if he's capable of that anymore. And again, the games where they don't have Kawhi, unless Norm Powell can like go off for 30-something on a regular basis, they're not going to score enough.
One more team I want to talk about. OKC Thunder made their debut tonight, and I just want to point out something from Isaiah Hardenstein, his number, in 17 minutes. 4 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists. And also Caruso, let me show you his numbers. He had 5 assists and 5 points in about the same minute, 17 minutes. So they picked up 2 legitimate guys without giving up anything. Is the number 1 seed there's a lose?
Yep. No hesitation. It is.
And no hesitation. You're just on his bandwagon. You're on his bandwagon.
Look, I was on the Thunder bandwagon before it was fashionable. If anybody cares to go through the receipts of old Locked On Lakers and ESPN shows here, and let me tell you, you all have better things to do with your time, but you can find it if you want to. I was on the OKC bandwagon before last season began.
I don't know if I'm on it. I think they're still too young. But they did pick up 2 veterans that could help them, really are going to help them.
Look, I'm not saying that they'll necessarily win the championship, although I think they'll have a good playoff run. But if you're asking me who's going to have the number 1 seed, it's theirs to lose. And they're not too young for that.
50 wins, they're going to get 50 wins no matter what.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, they're a 50 to 55. Assuming they stay healthy, to me, they're a 50 to 55 win team easily. Like, that's absolutely what I picture for them. All right, so again, Lakers talk is going to be pretty much every Monday unless we are preempted by one of the various teams that we carry, the Rams, the Lakers, maybe there's World Series baseball, something like that. But otherwise, we're going to be here.
National championships as well.
National championships.
Basketball and football.
We're going to be here every Monday, 7 to 9. And obviously, we are getting closer to the NBA season and the Lakers season when the games truly matter. That is going to kick off in just a couple weeks, and that's when the action really starts heating up. And I am incredibly excited to be here for all this. Thank you to everybody who listened today. Thank you to Shawn Davis and Betto Duran, looking to keep hooking up some really cool guests throughout the entire season. But I am really optimistic so far about what we're seeing with this Lakers team. We'll see how it continues.